was going on underneath the words when you watched Marlon Brando?
I came home from high school one day. This is in 1944. And there was Marlon in the apartment, this unbelievably beautiful thing, like the most beautiful cat. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. We went to the movies, and in the movie, he put his arm around me. The night I met him, I said, I think I have a crush on that actor. Crush. And my mother said, he's a great actor. He's the greatest actor since Papa. That was her father was a very great actor. And we started to see each other. We'd go to the movies and then come home and listen to music all night long. Endless, endless music. We listened to Prokofiev and Shostakovich. He liked music that was enormously, enormously emotional. He became familiar with a certain kind of family life in a Jewish home. And also, we had all these really great New York intellectuals and artists, and they all liked Marlon a lot. So for a time, he had this moment of really just living the life of an actor.
I'd just gotten out of the Army, and my wife said, say, there's something in the paper about a new play that Harold Clurman and Kazan are doing. Why don't you go down there, Kevin, and see about if there's something there for you? I got myself down to 40th and Broadway, and I got the most terrific welcome. Maxwell Anderson was there. It was his play, Truckline Cafe. And I read this marvelous part. Oh, golly. And I thought, that's just right. How did they know I was coming? And they said, oh, no, Kevin. No, that part's taken. That part's taken? Who else in town is going to play it any better than I will? The actor's name is Marlon Brando. I said, well, could I understudy that part? And one of these days, it's going to happen. This guy, whoever he is not going to be able to cut the mustard, and I'll walk out there and do it, and you'll be damn glad I'm here.
I guess the first time I really met him was at the table read, and I couldn't understand a word he was saying. Not a single word.
He was not doing anything at all at rehearsal.
He was talking into his coat, he was upstaging himself.
He was sort of walk through, traipse through.
He was talking inside of his sweater, he was had his hands covered over his face, you know. And quite honestly, most of us in the show were thinking, he's never going to end up in the show. They're going to fire him. And we felt that Harold Clurman was being so patient with this actor because Harold's wife was Stella Adler, Marlon's teacher.
And I think, I can't wait. Can't wait to get on and show them how this part should be played.
One day, Harold dismissed everybody for lunch. And I was sitting in the wings, and everyone left, and Harold said, Marlon, don't go yet, come here. And he said, sit down. And there was an ice cream table downstage center. And he said, start the scene. So Marlon started the scene, and within a second started to get up. And Harold said, no, stay. Go on, come on. So he goes on, and a second later, he's getting up, and he said, no, stay. Go on, come on. And he starts to do this scene, and there is so much rage in him that he starts to pound on the table, beat up the table practically, and I remember that he wrapped his leg around the base of this iron table. It was like seeing a caged, wild animal, but he wouldn't let him move. Then the scene builds, and he's talking about the murder. And he shot his wife 10 times. And I remember sitting there with, you know, just chills. And I felt like there was a volcano that I could see just starting to erupt, and then it just exploded. And when he finished, Harold said, that's it, Marlon, don't lose it. Now, go to lunch.
We were all sort of standing around. All of a sudden, I heard this voice. I killed her. I killed her. I killed her. You didn't know what to think. I still can't. I mean, I still feel it.
When it was over, I never heard so much cheering and shouting and clamping and stomping of their feet and standing up. The play couldn't start for about a minute and a half, and that's a long time, but nothing happening. And he stopped the play.
I saw Truckline Cafe. He came on and did a scene of about 4 minutes and absolutely stunned the audience. And we were left empty, and wounded by this actor.
That man, that young man, he was about 21, went out there and just destructive. Destroyed my ideas of what it's all about. So there was no further thought about that I was ever going to play that part.
He became a triumph. From then on, everybody wanted him to act, everybody. What was magical about him is young actors are eager to get the job. He reversed the process. He'd say, I'm not interested. No, and that made them all go nuts to get him.
After I moved to New York, I moved into a crazy building. All young, budding actors trying to work in New York. And Bud used to come almost every Saturday and play charades with us. I think just being a cut-up was his greatest joy in life.
I was always very aware of that Marlon behaved in a very, very unorthodox way. I mean, he was so playful. He was always doing something to make you laugh, to make you crack up. He was supposed to be serious. He would start to laugh. And I remember we went to some party with my mother and Harold, and he was putting olive pits in some man's pocket. I was always embarrassed by him.
I met him in New York. It was in front of Birdland. He was running in and out of the Alvin Hotel with a red fedora on. We'd go to the Palladium on Sundays and 5 o'clock and partying with the red fedora.
I had an opportunity being a white kid from the Midwest. I never saw a black person. And then when I came to New York, it was all different, man. I had a lot of black friends in those days. And the whole thing that brought me together with the Palladium on Wednesday night, Saturday night, to get involved with the Mamo contest was music, because I played conga. And I admired it so much.
Back then, it was a lot of discovery going on and enthusiasm and just passion. You know, that's what Marlon was attracted to because of the passion. He didn't know whether to dance, play conga, or both at the same time. And he used to dance when he was playing conga. You know, little steps around the conga. Marlon was a great dancer too, you know, because he spent a lot of time with around the Captain Dunham group. It was basically after the girls, you know. And it's the favorite phrase she used to use. He'd say, Q, let's go out and jiggle the molecules. And that's a very graphic way of describing Marlon, the molecule jiggler. That was his favorite expression.
We had dance class once a week in the actor studio. And that's when he saw me for the first time, Marlon did. And he asked me to go out a few times, and I never would go out because, well, he had a raccoon, and I like animals.